From this point on, I am a Gigante.
Everyone knows that the Batman universe is famous for its lineup of eccentric villains, but Gotham's threats go far beyond the likes of the Joker, Penguin, and Riddler. For nearly 40 years now, the Falcone family, who are often called the Roman Empire, have been a key part of Gotham's lore. They've played major roles in some of Batman's most iconic stories, and only made the city's history grittier. In Batman's history, the Falcones hold a special place as his first real target. Before Robin and the expanding roster of Arkham inmates, it was the Falcone crime family's stranglehold on Gotham that pulled Batman into making strategic alliances. Over time, DC Comics has expanded the Falcone family tree, but the core characters are still heavily inspired by the Corleones from Mario Puzo's The Godfather. But after the Penguin made it to the screen, the Falcones are gaining more attention than ever, and let's just say the drama has been magnanimous through the course of the past 5 episodes, especially after the death of Carmine Falcone. The Falcone family literally serves as a link between old Gotham, where the murder of Bruce Wayne's parents set the stage for Batman, and the newer Gotham, where Batman's war on crime opened the door for his most famous villains. The Penguin only highlights just how essential Gotham's most notorious crime family is, giving us a fresh perspective on the city's dark and dangerous underworld. So who are the key members of the Falcone family, and what has been their story through the decades? Without wasting another moment, let's do a deep dive on the entire Falcone family tree. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
When the time comes, I want you to take my place.
Carmine Falcone, the head. Carmine the Roman Falcone is one of Gotham's most powerful crime bosses, and like I've mentioned before, he is a major enemy of Batman. His nickname comes from the ruthless way he built his criminal empire, and as the head of the Falcone family, Carmine is a lot like Vito Corleone from The Godfather. In the comics, he first appeared in the Batman Year One story arc by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli in 1987. His backstory alongside his family's crime lore were later expanded in the Batman The Long Halloween series. He's also often portrayed as Catwoman's estranged father, as she's known to hold a grudge against him. As Gotham's top crime boss, Falcone's reach extends from the streets all the way to the city's political and police systems. Basically, as the ultimate crime boss of the city, Carmine controlled everything. Even in the Batman 2022 film, we saw Carmine Falcone as the undisputed leader of Gotham's criminal underworld, controlling the city through a drug operation that he took over from Salvatore Maroni, with the help of corrupt city officials and police. Although Batman and Jim Gordon eventually arrested him, the Riddler assassinated Carmine soon after, thus creating a power vacuum that sparked chaos in Gotham's criminal underworld. This struggle for control over his empire is pretty much the central theme in The Penguin, with various factions battling to take over the legacy Falcone left behind. Well, spoiler alert, in the latest episode of the show, we saw Sophia Falcone kill every last member of the Falcone family and take charge as the new crime boss of the Roman Empire. Actually, she also killed off her father's legacy by taking her mother's last name and renaming the empire as the Gigante family. So all I can say is that as of now, in The Penguin, the Falcone name is dead. Long live Gigante. Vincent Falcone. Father. Vincent Falcone, who was the father of Carmine Falcone and Carla Viddy, was a powerful crime lord in his own right. We saw him appear in The Long Halloween, which picks up right after Batman Year One and explores Batman's second year as Gotham's vigilante. The story pulls Catwoman into the Falcone family drama as she starts to believe that Carmine might be her father. It also gives a gripping origin for a particularly dangerous version of Two-Face and digs deep into the bitter feud between the Falcone and Maroni families that shapes Gotham's criminal landscape. Back then, Vincent Falcone had worked his way up to make the Falcone family a major iron fist in Gotham's crime world, but he was constantly challenged by the Maronis, who were trying to take over his territory. Things reached a boiling point when Sal Maroni's father, Luigi, ordered a hit on Carmine. After the attack, Vincent rushed his dying son to Dr. Thomas Wayne in the middle of the night, and the doctor saved Carmine's life. This moment was witnessed by a young Bruce Wayne, and he also noticed how indebted Vincent felt to Thomas Wayne for saving his son's life. For the Falcones, this cemented the belief that the Waynes were loyal to them. Unfortunately, this connection would later pull Bruce and his alter ego Batman into the year of the Long Halloween. Louisa Falcone, wife. In the comics, Louisa Falcone was the wife of Gotham mob boss Carmine Falcone and the mother of his 3 children, Alberto, Mario, and Sophia Falcone. There are rumors that she also had a 4th child who was supposed to be killed, but Louisa somehow managed to persuade Milos Grappa to spare the baby. Catwoman has always suspected that she might be that child, but she never really received a clear answer to confirm her theories. Now, the Penguin series has made several changes compared to the original comic books. For example, Sophia Falcone's mother was named Louisa Falcone in the comics, but in the show, she's referred to as Isabella Falcone. In the show, one of the biggest traumas in Sophia Falcone's adult life is the death of her mother. Initially, she believed her mother had committed suicide. However, everything changed when she met a reporter who was investigating the suspicious deaths of 7 women. When the reporter presented solid evidence, it made Sophia realize it wasn't just a suicide, but in fact her father, Carmine Falcone, who was the primary suspect behind these murders. When Oz Cobb told Carmine that Sophia had met the reporter, she confronted her father, revealing that the night she found her mother's body hanging, there were clear signs of a struggle. She also pointed out that Carmine had scratch marks on his hands. This evidence strongly suggests that Carmine was responsible for her mother's death, as well as the deaths of other women. Now, in order to keep this from coming to light, Carmine had Sophia framed as the hangman and committed her to Arkham Asylum for 10 years. She was only released after his death, and as of now, she's killed off every last one of her family members, including Johnny Viddy. After renaming the crime family as Gigante, she took charge as the new crime boss of Gotham, and even formed an alliance with Salvatore Maroni to get her revenge on Oz for betraying her twice. But in contrast to the show, in the comics, Louisa was not really killed by anyone. In fact, she passed away naturally and left behind a beautiful rose garden at Falcone Manor. Even years after her death, Carmine continues to cherish and care for that garden. Alberto Falcone Son. In the DC Comics, Alberto Falcone, being the youngest son of Carmine and Louisa Falcone, was always kept away from the family business by his parents. He was sent to prestigious schools like Oxford and Harvard, but his father rarely visited him. All Alberto really wanted was to be part of the family, but Carmine's refusal to let him in left Alberto feeling isolated and struggling with mental health issues. During the long Halloween, he took on the alias Holiday and randomly started murdering members of the Roman Empire. He claimed that Carmine's absence during his childhood was so profound that he couldn't even remember his own birthday, which fell on one of the 12 holidays when he committed his murders. Initially, when he was charged with a death penalty for his crimes, Alberto was instead sent to Arkham Asylum, where he developed a rivalry with the holiday-themed villain Calendar Man. Tragically, during the Batman Dark Victory storyline, he was killed the following year by his own sister, Sophia, as punishment for his actions against the family. In The Penguin, he was introduced as an important player in the Falcone family dynamics, as he was poised to take over the family business. But things quickly got complicated after his father's death. As the ruthless heir to the Falcone crime syndicate scheming to seize control of Gotham City's drug trade alongside his sister Sophia after their father was murdered, Alberto Falcone's ambitions were cut short when the Penguin had him gunned down and used his death to ignite a major gang war in the city. Mario Falcone Son. Mario Falcone was Carmine's eldest son and the heir to the Falcone crime empire. However, in the Dark Victory storyline, he was arrested by Chief O'Hara and deported back to Italy, where the Falcone family originally came from. While in Italy, he renounced his criminal past. But back in the US, tragedy struck when a serial killer known as Holiday targeted the Falcone family. Holiday murdered many of Carmine's associates and even killed Alberto on New Year's Eve. The rampage lasted nearly a year before it was revealed that Alberto had faked his death to cover his tracks. On the anniversary of Holiday's first murder, Carmine was killed by Harvey Dent, who had transformed into Two-Face after a tragic accident. This incident also left Sophia confined to a wheelchair, ultimately making her the new head of the Falcone Empire. When Alberto was released from Arkham Asylum, Mario returned to the States to take care of him, keeping him under house arrest at their grandfather Vincent's estate near Wayne Manor. During this time, Mario attended a gathering at the Falcone family crypt, where they discovered that Carmine's body had been stolen. A severed finger was sent to Sophia as a warning that someone intended to take everything from her. Unknown to everyone, Two-Face was behind this theft, driven by his own obsession connection with the Falcone family. Later, Mario Falcone assured the people of Gotham that his criminal past was behind him, presenting Falcone Imports as a legitimate business. He even began working with Bruce Wayne and Gotham Bank. However, during a meeting with the bank, Mario was ambushed by the Joker, who was acting on orders from Two-Face. Disguised as window washers, the Joker and his henchmen opened fire, but thankfully no one was killed. Earlier that day, the Joker had also tried to eliminate Two-Face's rivals, the Maroni brothers, and later attempted to take out Sophia and Alberto, though that hit ultimately failed. Despite her condition, Sophia was determined to restore the Falcone Empire and accused Mario of betraying the family. In response, Mario declared that the Falcone name could no longer be associated with criminal activities, and even locked Sophia and her bodyguard, Murdy, out of her penthouse. By court order, Sophia could no longer use the Falcone name and had to refer to herself as Sophia Gigante. To further undermine her, Mario formed a loose alliance with Janice Porter, sharing information about Sophia's criminal activities. It was eventually revealed that Sophia was the notorious cop killer Hangman, who murdered victims using nooses. After Janice Porter was killed, likely by Alberto, Mario realized he had no protection from those out to eliminate him. He sought help from Jim Gordon, Gotham's police commissioner, only to discover that Porter had been having an affair with Two-Face and feeding him information about the Falcone family. Sophia ultimately met her end at the hands of Harvey Dent, the very person she had vowed to destroy. During her burial, Alberto's body was supposedly found. Broken and nearly insane, Mario set fire to his grandfather's estate and was subsequently institutionalized in Chicago. After some time away, he returned to Gotham as the new head of the Falcone crime family, engaging in a gang war against the Riddler and Two-Face. While in Gotham, Mario stumbled upon Two-Face's old hideout and found Diamond Jack, one of his associates, shot and dying. After learning about Gilda, he and she set up a meeting at a construction site to supposedly sell secrets from the Jade Compass Society. But they were besieged by Two-Face's men, and in a desperate attempt to escape, Mario threatened to kill Gilda, but she denied any betrayal. Just as he held a gun to her head, Two-Face shot Mario 3 times in the back, and well, he died.
That would interest you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Sophia Falcone, daughter. In her comic book counterpart, Sophia Falcone Gigante was Carmine's only legitimate daughter and a strong woman who inherited her father's criminal prowess, despite often facing his dismissive attitude rooted in traditional Italian values. She married Roco Gigante and had 2 children. Early in Batman's career, she was one of his powerful enemies who played a significant role in the storylines of The Long Halloween and Dark Victory. Before the events of The Long Halloween, Sophia was sent to Blackgate Prison, but was released by her father a few months into the year so she could serve as his chief enforcer and bodyguard. When Two-Face, the Joker, and Catwoman raided Falcone's apartment and killed Carmine, in the chaos, Sophia was thrown out of a window while trying to confront Catwoman, who didn't want to harm her. Although she survived, Sophia was left wheelchair-bound and wore a neck brace, bearing scars similar to her father's. Fueled by rage after Two-Face and Mr. Freeze stole Carmine's body, Sophia began a killing spree as the Hangman. She attempted to take down Two-Face, but was ultimately stopped by Batman, who intervened just in time for Two-Face to deliver a fatal shot to her skull. In the Penguin series, Sophia's backstory is very different. Before she turned into the unhinged queenpin we know her as, Sophia was actually a kind woman who established many charities and donated to causes supporting women with mental health struggles. However, Sophia was still haunted by the memory of finding her mother's body, which her father claimed was a result of suicide. But like I already told you, when Summer Gleason, a reporter from the Gotham Gazette, tells her that every other woman who has been close to her father has also turned up dead, with the cause being suicide, Sophia realizes that her father might be a serial killer, targeting women. So she tries to gather proof, but Oz catches wind of her plans and quickly rats her out to Carmine, setting off a chain of events that leaves Sophia in a dangerous position. Carmine Falcone turns the tables on Sophia, accusing her of the murders while the media dubs her as the Hangman. And despite her efforts to prove her innocence, Sophia ends up being sent to Arkham Asylum for 10 long years, which ultimately shaped her into the ruthless mob boss who came back from jail, killed her entire family for not standing up for her, and ultimately erased her father's family name by becoming the new crime boss under her mother's maiden name, Gigante. Roco Gigante, son-in-law. Roco Gigante is Sophia Falcone's husband, who also went by the alias Louisa Gigante. The two met while working together in the Falcone crime family, and their partnership blossomed into love. They eventually married after Sophia awoke from her coma. Ironically, the Gigante surname being used by Sophia in The Penguin is not from her husband, but from her mother's maiden name. After she took charge of her crime family, Sophia decided to honor her late mother's legacy and establish a fresh identity for herself by calling herself Sophia Gigante. While there is no Roco Gigante in the series horizon, this bold move positions her as the main antagonist for the Penguin in the latter part of the season, signaling a whole new direction for Sophia Falcone in Matt Reeves' Batverse. Luigi and Vincenzo Gigante. Luigi Gigante is the eldest son of Sophia and Roco Gigante, but his current whereabouts are a mystery. Vincenzo Gigante, their younger son, is named after Sophia's late grandfather, Vincent Falcone, and is also said to be missing in action. Katrina Falcone, granddaughter. In the comics, Katrina Falcone is the daughter of Alberto Falcone and the youngest member of the Falcone crime family. After her father was killed by her Aunt Sophia, Katrina was left to grow up under the care of her neglectful and abusive uncle Mario, who tortured her both mentally and physically for her unique abilities. However, her life took a turn for the better when she befriended Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, who might actually be an illegitimate daughter of Carmine Falcone, making her Katrina's aunt. Embracing her new life, Katrina became her aunt's sidekick and came to be known as Catgirl.
I'd like to express my gratitude to everyone here. Tensions.
Luca Falcone, cousin brother. Luca Falcone, portrayed by Scott Cohen in The Penguin, is a relative of Carmine Falcone, though their exact relationship isn't specified. Following Carmine's death, Luca steps in to help keep the family business running. As Carmine's direct cousin, he becomes a key player in the power struggle for control of the crime empire in the spin-off series. After Sophia was arrested and wrongfully accused of the Hangman murders, Carmine pressured their entire family, including Luca, to submit false reports claiming that Sophia showed signs of mental illness following her mother Isabella's death. As the dawn of the family, Luca exuded a calm sophistication that made him both charming and dangerous when necessary. He prioritized family and their business above all else. Luca also had a taste for the finer things in life and was not shy about flaunting his wealth, enjoying luxury suites, expensive cars, and flashy watches. He had very little tolerance for traitors, especially those who fed information to rival crime families. When he discovered that someone had been leaking details to the Maroni crime family, leading to an attack on one of their shipments, Luca quickly ordered a register of everyone employed by his family. His anger over the situation was palpable, and he preferred to resolve issues swiftly, especially when it came to protecting his family. He had served as Carmine's underboss for many years, and after Alberto's death, he took the position as the Falcone family's new boss. Luca had been married twice before, but when he married his third wife, Tina, a younger woman he met in Portugal, things took a turn as Tina was unfaithful and had an affair with Johnny Viddy, the family's underboss. But in episode 4 of the show, after Sophia made sure that her cousin Gia was safely asleep in the greenhouse, she murdered the rest of her family by faking a gas leak. It made sense to eliminate Luca, Milos, and others in the power hierarchy, but Sophia went further and targeted their wives and her cousin Carla. It wasn't just felt she couldn't save them like she did Gia. Deep down, Sophia wanted them dead. Ironically, because they believed she was a serial killer.
Getting drunk, hanging out with those horny Italian boys.
Carla Viddy, sister. As the sister of Carmine Falcone and the wife of a powerful crime don in Chicago named Felice Viddy, Carla first appears in Batman The Long Halloween issue 1, where we see Bruce Wayne in Carmine's study, who is trying to persuade Wayne to use his banks for money laundering, to which Wayne refuses. Carla's final comic appearance is in Batman The Long Halloween issue 11, where Carmine Falcone is in his study with his sister, who's furious about his decision to hire Poison Ivy, Riddler, Scarecrow, and Mad Hatter. Carmine dismisses her concerns, stating he doesn't owe her any explanations. Just then, his daughter Sophia walks in, letting them know that they're ready. Meanwhile, in the courtroom, Maroni starts to confess to a series of murders, complaining about his ulcer as Dent feigns surprise at hearing about it for the first time. When Dent presses him about whether he committed the murders under Carmine's orders, Maroni suddenly has a coughing fit. In a fit of anger, he grabs his medicine bottle and throws its contents at Dent's face. face. Elsewhere, Carmine is blowing out the candles on his birthday cake while Dent is suffering from the acid that Maroni threw at him. Maroni taunts Dent as he's dragged out of the courtroom, revealing that the acid is strong enough to eat through cement. Meanwhile, disguised as Bruce Wayne, Batman watches in horror. Later at the hospital, a surgeon enters the waiting room where Gilda Dent and the Gordons are waiting. He delivers devastating news that Harvey has escaped. Just as he says this, he collapses into Jim Gordon's arms with a scalpel lodged in his back. Meanwhile, Carla is in the coroner's office, sifting through records, when the holiday killer arrives and shoots her in the head, causing her to fall among scattered files and making Carla the 11th victim in the holiday killing spree. Now, in the Penguin TV series, Carla is actually the daughter of Johnny Viddy and the cousin of Sophia Falcone. When they were younger, Carla and Sophia loved to travel to Lake Como in Italy, where they spent endless wild nights drinking and flirting with the local boys, often getting into trouble. However, everything changed after Sophia was arrested and framed for the Hangman murders. Carmine Falcone pressured the entire family, including Carla and Johnny, to write false reports claiming that Sophia was showing signs of mental illness after her mother's death. At some point in her life, Carla got married and had a daughter named Gia. But, well, she met her end when Sophia gassed the entire family for their contribution in her conviction of the Hangman murders.
Who's this?
I'm Gia.
Hi, Gia. I'm your mom's.
Lucia Viddy, niece. In the comics, Lucia Viddy was the niece of Carmine Falcone and became the heir to the Viddy crime organization after her mother Carla and brother Johnny were killed by the elusive serial killer known as Holiday. She traveled to Gotham for her uncle Carmine's funeral, but ended up staying longer than expected to build alliances with the Maroni twins. During this time, many suspected she was plotting an attack against the Falcone family, fueled by the animosity stemming from her family's death. Blaming the Falcones for their deaths, Lucia attended Falcone's funeral along with other members of his organization. Although she was supposed to return to Chicago, where the Viddy crime family was based, she decided to linger in Gotham a bit longer. During her stay, she bailed Umberto and Pino Maroni out of prison, with the hopes of forming potential new alliances. However, her true intentions remained unclear. Tragically, Lucia's plans were cut short during the Columbus Day massacre when poison ivy caused her car to crash. Now, I think in the Penguin TV series, Lucia's character is replaced by Gia Viddy. In the show, Gia Viddy is the daughter of Carla Viddy and the niece of Johnny Viddy. She's a sweet and innocent girl, blissfully unaware of her family's criminal activity. Her naivete shines through as she wholeheartedly trusts her cousin Sophia, despite her mother's warnings to be cautious. We see Gia attending her cousin Alberto's funeral with her parent. While there, she approaches her mother and asks if she can have some cake. After that, she meets her cousin Sophia, who compliments Gia on her looks and helps her fix a loose hairpin. Just as they're bonding, Gia's mother intervenes and takes her away. Later, Gia is having dinner with her family when Sophia walks and expresses her frustration about how everyone turned against her, despite being innocent. That night, Sophia invites Gia to the greenhouse to eat cake, and the two end up spending the night there. Before drifting off to sleep, Gia confides in Sophia that her mother said she did bad things. Sophia acknowledges this, but explains it was because her father had locked her in a dungeon with monsters. Gia becomes scared, worried that she might be locked up too, but Sophia reassures her that she would never let that happen. Next morning, it's revealed that Sophia had brought Gia to the greenhouse to protect her from the gas she had released to kill the entire Falcone family, including Gia's parent. Gia was then sent away to a children's home while Sophia filled up the power vacuum left in the absence of the Falcone.
Okay, Sophia, let's not be rash here. All right, these gentlemen know we got a score we need.
Johnny Viddy, nephew. In the comics, Johnny Viddy, the son of Felice and Carla Viddy, is the first victim of the Holiday Killer. Tragically, he was discovered dead in his bathtub on Halloween, shot with an untraceable gun. Only a jack-o'-lantern was left at the scene of his murder. He was supposed to be the heir of the Viddy crime family and had earned a name for himself in the underworld before his untimely murder. Now, in the Penguin TV series, Johnny Viddy was the underboss of the Falcone crime family and the older brother of Carla Viddy, as well as the cousin of Isabella Gigante. He began his career in the crime family as a soldier and later introduced Isabella to Carmine Falcone, hoping they would fall in love. When they married, Johnny became part of Carmine's family by extension and worked his way up the ranks to become the underboss. On the night of his cousin's death, Johnny planned to help Isabella escape from her abusive husband. He had a car ready to take her and her children away from Gotham. However, Carmine discovered discovered them, leading to Isabella's tragic death. Despite knowing what had happened, Johnny chose to continue working for Carmine. At some point, Johnny also began a secret affair with Tina, who was Luca Falcone's third wife. Johnny was the only one Sophia did not kill through carbon monoxide poisoning. After she's confronted by GCPD Chief Mackenzie Bach about what happened the night before, Sophia lies, saying that Luca and Johnny were fighting over Luca's wife, Tina, so she was asked to take Gia to the greenhouse for safety. When Bach asks if she knows where Viddy is, Sophia simply denies it, claiming he must have left that night, almost implying that Viddy is responsible for the death of her entire family. Later on, Sophia heads to her family's burial site with a bucket of ice-cold water, revealing that she's got Johnny tied up and gagged there like a mad dog. She then begins torturing, demanding that he tell her where her father hid his money, and even promises to let him go if he cooperates. But Viddy refuses to say a word, as he's convinced that Sophia will kill him anyway, so in response, she drenches him with the freezing water. As Sophia continues to torment Viddy, he reveals a painful truth about how her mother, Isabella, had planned to leave Carmine the night she died. In fact, she had tried to flee before as well, but always stayed back for the sake of protecting her children. But this revelation only infuriates Sophia, and she chokes Viddy, accusing him of lying. Eventually, Viddy gives in and offers to help, saying that he couldn't save her mother, but he wanted to help Sophia. Following this, Sophia boldly admits killing the entire Falcone family in front of her father's henchmen, and expresses no remorse for her actions. Sophia then announces that her father's legacy is dead, and that she will now take her mother's maiden name, Gigante, for herself, as well as make it the family name for her own crime family. However, when Johnny Viddy tries to caution her against making any rash decisions, Sophia coldly shoots him in the head before Viddy even finishes his sentence. So that was all the members related to the iconic Falcone crime family. Now, comic book enthusiasts, what do you guys think about the Roman Empire's portrayal in the TV show The Penguin? Let us know about your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.